Good morning, students. So today we already started our explanation, that is from chapter 5, and our topic of the chapter is different ways of life. So today we are going to start with the help of some animation, and I'm going to show you an animation and I'm going to explain you the chapter. So let's begin our animation. Okay.
Society in the Vedic period. In this module, you will learn about the society in the Vedic period. The Vedic period refers to the age when the Vedas were being composed by the Aryans, who had migrated to the Indian subcontinent from Central Asia. The Vedic age ranges roughly from about mid-second to mid-first millennium BC. The information about the Vedic age is largely obtained from the four Vedas: Rig Veda, Sam Veda, Yajur Veda, and Atharva Veda, along with other allied Vedic literature. These literary works provide immense information about the political, social, economic, religious, and cultural life of the people of the Vedic period. The Vedic age is divided into two: the early Vedic period from BC 1500 to BC 1000, and the later Vedic period from BC 1000 to BC 600. There is a difference in the life of the people during these two stages. Let us look at the social conditions prevalent during the Vedic age in detail. The Rig Veda, the most archaic of the four Vedas, provides a vivid insight into the society of the early Vedic period. In the early Vedic period, or the Rig Veda times, the Aryan families lived in villages. Society in the early Vedic period was basically semi-nomadic in nature. The patriarchal system was followed, with the oldest male member being the head of the family, or the Grihpati, or Kulpati. The son of the Grihpati took over his father's responsibilities after his father's death. Position of women. Women were given due respect in the early Vedic age. Daughters at the age of 16 or 17 were allowed to choose their husbands. Widow remarriage was permitted and child marriage did not exist. Women could participate in yajna and perform sacrifices. They participated in public assemblies. There were several women scholars like Lopamudra, Visvavara, Ghosha, Sikata, Nivavari, and Apala. However, this situation changed with the transition to the later Vedic period. In the later Vedic period, society became very complex and the status of women declined. Women were no longer allowed to choose their husbands. They were not allowed to participate in yajnas, and they did not have the right to property either. Social divisions. In the early Vedic period, there was a basic class division in the society. The early Aryans called the local inhabitants Dasyus and did not mingle with them. Social inequalities were created with the tribal chiefs and priests amassing wealth. The tribal society was divided into three groups: the priests, the warriors, and the common people. The fourth group, called Shudras, appeared only towards the end of the Rigvedic period. However, on the whole, the tribal society was egalitarian in nature. The early Vedic society was characterized by occupational mobility. People could choose and change their jobs. However, with the passage of time, occupations became hereditary, resulting in the formation of occupational classes. The class system that emerged in the early Vedic period developed into the rigid and immobile caste system via the later Vedic period. In the later Rigvedic period, there were four distinct castes: the Brahmins with their priestly duties, the Kshatriyas or the warriors, the Vaishyas or the business class, and the Shudras, the lowest class. In the later Vedic period, this caste system became extremely rigid. The Brahmins began to be considered as gods on earth, and the Kshatriyas the rulers. The three upper classes qualified for Upnayan or investiture with a sacred thread according to the Vedic mantras. Intercaste marriages were not allowed. The four ashrams. In the Vedic period, family traditions influenced a person's life and upbringing. The division of the lifespan of an Aryan into four Vedic periods or stages was done in the later Vedic period. The first stage was the Brahmacharya stage, which was the period of education and discipline. The second was the Grihastha stage, referring to marriage and family life. The third stage, Vanaprastha stage, was for an attempt to gain spiritual and philosophical knowledge, and the fourth sannyasa stage meant renunciation. Education. In the Vedic period, students were nurtured at gurukuls or the home of the guru, who was much revered. The gurukuls were often situated in the outskirts of the city and even in the forests. The students resided at the gurukul and were expected to learn the Vedas and take care of the surroundings. The aim of this education system was to develop the physical, mental, and the spiritual qualities in the student. The main subjects included the Vedas, Puranas, grammar, mathematics, ethics, logic, and military science. Maitri and Gargi were two women teachers who were considered to be gifted and were greatly respected. Food, dress, and ornaments. Yava or barley was the staple cereal diet of the Aryans, while rice was consumed only later. Milk and milk products were also consumed. During festivals and ceremonies, soma, an intoxicating drink, was served. The clothing of the Vedic people mainly consisted of an undergarment or the nivi, dhoti, a shirt or the vasa, and a loose overgarment or the adhivasa. Men kept long hair and wore turban. Sadhus often wore deer skins or mrigachhal. Both men and women adorned themselves with jewelry. Entertainment Entertainment consisted of chariot racing, horse races, dancing, singing, and hunting. The people participated in competitive sports, festivals, and gambling. They played musical instruments such as the drum, flute, mridang, and lute. Let's recall what we have learned. In the early Vedic period, families lived in villages. The oldest male member of the family or grihapati was the head of the family. Women enjoyed an esteemed position in the early Vedic period. The early Vedic period, with its nomadic and tribal population, had class distinctions but not caste distinctions. In the later Vedic period, there were distinct castes: Brahmins, priestly class; Kshatriyas, warriors; Vaishyas, the tradesmen; and the lower caste, the Shudras, who served the upper castes. In the later Vedic period, the lifespan of man was divided into four ashrams: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. Education was provided at Gurukuls by the revered Guru. Barley, rice, milk products, and soma were consumed by the Aryan people. The Aryans wore simple clothes and jewelry. They enjoyed music, competitive sports, festivals, and gambling.
So students, as you have seen the recording, right? So you have seen the video and you understood the explanation of the chapter. So students, as you have watched the video and you understood the explanation of the chapter, and we understood the position of the women we saw in the video, right? And also we saw the what kind of society they formed. Okay, so first the stage of they will lead a brahmacharya, where they will have the education on the based of living in that education will be type of, they will be living in the ashram and they will be taking the education. And those who are warriors, okay, later on from there someone want to become warrior, someone want to become brahmans. Okay, the brahmans were the known as educators or teachers. The warriors were the Rajputs, those who are going for fighting. Okay, so if we say about society, what kind of society they lived, they were very well civilized society. Okay, where there was upper caste and the lower caste were there. The upper were the Brahmanas were the most upper one. Next will come the Kshatriyas, who were also known as the fighters. Okay, or also you can see the Rajput people you saw in the video, right? And also next we saw the you can say the business class people, the businessmen. Down of the businessmen will be the Sudras. Okay, the Sudras, those who are doing the work of the low graded works, you can say at the lower down. What is the position of the women we saw in the video? That the in the later Rig Vedic period or the Rig Vedic period, women also participate in public meeting. They were also having at the 17 or 18 years of age, they were getting married, and they were having the option to choose whether from whom they want to marry. We saw in the video, right? That to whom they want to marry, they can choose during that time. Also, the widow, okay, we are saying in the Hindi vidwa, right? Those who are husbands are becoming dead, so they also can be get married after that. When the husband becomes dead, they were also given the opportunity to take education. Okay, so they were having remarriage, and this all there it is written, you can see in the book. What we have seen in the video, we saw read in that only. In the next class I will explain in a very short with the help of the video which I showed today. Okay, till then, that take care. Thank you. Bye bye everyone.